I was in the car, with my chick, my lady, right? And she was basically playing in my face. And when I say playing in my face, if I were to articulate it more clear, she was being logically dishonest. But I was really coming out of my body.
The last time he argued with a woman changed everything.
Yeah. I've been seeking success, yeah, I'm trying to come the closest. It's hard putting in work when barely anyone notice. And you self-motivate, yeah, you gotta focus. These women have your head fucked up, priorities stolen. You gotta plan your day in the morning, you gotta mold it.
What's good? Welcome back to the league. The Renaissance Man's Templar, a place for you to come in from the battlefield of life to create, reflect, refocus, and remember, the world is yours, so let's conquer it. This is power, what separates the boys from the men. And if you like more content like this, I suggest you give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the league. The world is yours. So without further ado, let's get into the topic. The last time he argued with a woman changed everything.
What's going on, guys? So, guys, let's get right into it. I'm actually going to give you guys the context that even led to me desiring to make this video in the first place. But first, we're going to get right into it. Guys, I'm going to tell you a personal story of me arguing with a woman, okay? I don't share too many personal stories. This one's going to be pretty good. So, picture this, guys. I was younger. I was significantly younger. Keep that in mind. But what I remember is, I was in the car, with my chick, my lady, right? And she was basically playing in my face. And when I say playing in my face, if I were to articulate it more clear, she was being logically dishonest, in my opinion. And what do I mean by logically dishonest? Well, she was acting like, in my personal opinion, like she didn't understand something that I feel like a 5-year-old could understand, let alone a grown adult, right? But she didn't want to concede to reality. And it infuriated me, guys. Truly. Why did it infuriate me? Because this wasn't the first time. And quite frankly, guys, I was just fed up at this point. All right. So this is going to get good, guys. But here we are. We're going back and forth. I'm in the car. And, I'm not going to lie, guys. Like I said, I was younger. But I was really coming out of my body. You know what I mean by that? Like I was coming out of character for sure. All right. So just imagine, guys, we're in a car, confined space, right? And I'm coming out my body. Not that extraneous, but you get my gist, right? And, now, she goes from going back and forth, and now she done somehow spun this thing, and now she's the victim, right? From my perspective, right? Because there's always two sides. I don't really care. But, when I say that, I mean, like she's looking out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a sad music video, right? But looking sad, but still not validating the obvious truth. Okay. So as a man, right, what do we like to do? I'm giving examples, right? I'm trying to get her to understand, right? I'm trying to get her to, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of us, we do that. Yeah, we try to get them to understand. And I can definitely relate to that. You have an argument with your lady and you try to put it in the most simplest terms that you possibly can. And you break it down so much and so far, you talk about it so much and so far, you make it as simple as possible. And you do that just for them not to understand. And you know what that does to you? It frustrates you because you put a lot of effort into trying to get them to understand something that was so simple. And what I learned is, you know, you just gotta walk away from it at that point. You know, if you can't understand it, then oh well. You know.
To get it right, to get the picture, to get the logic. But at the same time, like I mentioned, guys, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting furious, right? So, do you guys know like those UPS trucks? You know what I mean? Like they sit up real tall. They have them high seats, right?
Right.
Cool. So just hold that for a second, okay? So I'm still going off, and I'm looking crazy, guys. I'm looking like a damn fool. All right. And for some reason, something just made me look to my left. And I looked to my left. And when I looked to my left, there's a UPS truck. We're at the stop. We're at the red light. There's a UPS truck parked beside me, and dude was just looking down at me like this. And I stopped immediately, like cold, just like that. And I came to the realization. I was like, "Wow, I'm really looking crazy out here." And I stopped that instant, guys. And I reflected on that for the rest of the night. And when I reflected on that, I told myself, man, I can't ever let anybody, you know what I'm saying, have me looking crazy like this. I just couldn't believe it. Have you guys ever had a situation like that? Because I actually know a lot of guys personally who have. Now, I told you at the beginning of the video, I was going to give you guys the reason that even sparked me to make this video. I think you guys would be interested to hear that. But first, what's going on, Limitless Legion? Or if you're new to my channel, welcome to the channel. This channel is for the ones who...
So yeah, I think that if a lot of us thought about, you know, when we get into those arguments and get into those moments where we're really trying to prove our point, and when we even get towards getting out of our body, so to say, or allowing someone to get an emotional rise out of us, if we just think about it from a third person perspective and see what we look like compared to the situation, I think a lot of us would stop. I think a lot of us would reevaluate whether it's worth, you know, going back and forth about. I think a lot of us would leave some of the situations that we're in. I think a lot of us would not need to continue to argue with anyone, because I think, you know, we know something deep inside of us, right? We have someone playing in our face. They're lying, or they don't want to acknowledge the logic. But the reason that we continue to go back and forth with them and try to get them to understand is because we want to be validated. We want our points to be validated. We know in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. But this other person won't give us that satisfaction, because they don't want to be wrong, and they don't want us to know that they're wrong. And we already know they're wrong. We already know, oh, you was sneaky or whatever it is. But they won't admit it because they don't want to be accountable. And a lot of times people don't want to be accountable because they don't plan on changing their behavior. You know, they don't plan on acknowledging it. They don't care. And they don't plan on changing their behavior. People only acknowledge their behavior when there's cold, hard facts. And even then, some people find a way out of it. So, you know, I appreciate the brother for sharing his story, you know, and if we can think about this last time that he argued with a woman, you know, it can also change everything for us because we can learn from other people's mistakes. We don't have to always make every mistake in the book, guys. Now, this is power, what separates the boys from the men. And if you like more content like this, I suggest you give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the league. The world is yours. And until next time.
Yeah. Oh, I've been been seeking success, yeah, I'm trying to come the closest. It's hard putting in work when barely anyone notice. And you self-motivate, yeah, you gotta focus. These women have your head fucked up, priorities stolen. You gotta plan your day in the morning, you gotta mold it.